Excited about this one.
Yeah, man. Here we go.
From crime to comedy, today's guest has a pretty good, dope story. Originally from Los Angeles, his parents moved him away, hoping to escape gang life. But he still found himself caught up in the streets of the same neighborhood I actually grew up in. After time in juvenile hall and prison, he's completely flipped the script, turning in pain into punchlines, and now making his mark in stand-up comedy and as an author. Please welcome, tapping in with us today, is none other than Victor Zapata, also known as Young Beavz.
Young Beavz, bro.
Hey, pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you, man.
Thanks for having us, bro. Or thanks for having us. You coming here with us.
Anytime.
No,
really
honestly, it is a huge honor
Yeah.
to be able to have you here. And like I said, we talked about this before we, started recording that, I know you've been on other podcasts and everything, but for me, it's kind of like, it's a dope honor because we come from the same city, same neighborhood.
Grounds, everything.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool because we had JR, who literally comes from the same neighborhood as him and almost shared the same similar story.
Yeah, that was our last interview, a couple interviews ago, right? Yeah, JR was cool, man. And when he was like, yeah, I'm like, you're not from that area. I'm like, yeah, bro, La Puente. And then when he's all crazy about Ballin Park, I'm like, damn, all right. And then he was telling me too during the week, he's like, dude, I'm excited, man. We're gonna talk to this guy. And then we were looking you up and all your stuff and your comedy and your story and
and
all of it, bro.
Yeah, and it's cool just because, again, we're talking to somebody who lived that gang life.
Yeah,
and,
no doubt.
Ran the streets. It ended up in prison, which we'll get all into that. But to know that you come from Ballin Park and you're making some noise in the comedy world.
Thank you.
And we had Luis from A Toast to Life.
Yeah,
he's making noise. He's from Ballin Park.
Okay.
He grew up in the East Side though.
Okay, that's still cool.
But
Ballin Park.
He's making his noise in the podcast world.
That's good.
So
all these
and then of course
dudes.
you got the rapper. I don't know. I mean,
yeah.
But he's from Ballin Park. He's repping.
Yeah.
So we got a few people.
SGV,
and hopefully,
bro.
Eventually, my name, my name will
it.
get mentioned within these names.
Yeah, I feel like as long as you keep doing the footwork, don't run, just step by step.
Exactly.
It takes time.
That's how it usually starts out at first.
As Nipsey Hussle said, it's a marathon.
It's a marathon. Exactly.
That's right, man. So growing up out there, in Ballin Park, your whole life out there in BP, and then what happened?
So I was born in LA, and then my family was from Ballin Park, like my cousins and all that.
Yeah.
So the gang violence in LA, everybody knows, was really bad, like in the 90s.
Oh yeah,
right?
of course, right.
So my mom seen us gravitating towards that because of my cousins from Temple Street. So she moved us to Ballin Park, which at that time was a little more leve, more calmado. But there was still like gangs and everything there.
Right.
So we moved to Ballin Park, but my cousins are from Northside. So I started kicking it with them.
What year was this that you guys moved to?
In the 90s, like
in
early 90s.
Early 90s.
Oh, damn.
That's the height
peak of it, of the gangbanging.
That was crazy at that time.
You were either a gang member or a rebel.
Yeah, no doubt.
That was the phase. Everybody,
For sure.
That's all you were doing.
I was a rebel later in high school.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, see?
And you guys will all run into each other at the In-N-Out right there. In-N-Out number one.
Exactly.
Linda's Burgers, actually.
Linda's Burgers, which is down the way, too, though.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Not too far.
Yeah, so pretty much, like, I like the lifestyle just because, you seen them, they're like, the clothes, the girls. And me being like, I admit it, growing up I was an ugly kid. I consider myself an ugly kid.
Yeah.
I was dark. I didn't have no clothes.
I'm with you, bro. Me too. Not saying that I agree with you.
But you feel it. Like,
you
see those people, you're like, dude, these fools have all the hyenas.
Yeah.
And you just see like how they're kicking it, and you're like, dude, I want to kick it like that.
Yeah. How do I get involved?
But what they don't tell you is when you're in that life, it's not all glamour. Like you get that. But there's a lot of stuff that comes with it, like the violence, the drugs, the addiction, and then you just put yourself in a situation that you think, okay, this is my first family.
Right.
And I feel like you neglect your actual family, and you like little by little, I think that's when the brainwashing starts. These are my homies. This is
my family right here.
Which I don't say it's a bad thing because, I did join a gang and I do still acknowledge my homies. I'll never deny where came from, how I came from. But it just makes you, like, as you grow up, you realize, like, okay, they're my homies, and there's a difference between homies and friends.
Yeah,
right.
You become a little more level-headed.
Yes, exactly.
There's a certain limit now to what you can do and don't do.
Exactly. I can't run around with a gun no more.
No.
Back in the days, I was like, oh, I need a gun.
Well, even for that matter, being out in the street, still trying to gangbang.
Yeah. When did you start getting into all that?
I started when I was 11 years old.
Damn, man.
I was young.
That was mad young.
Holland, like when we were in Holland. You know,
Wow.
Good old Holland Junior
yeah,
High.
good old
man.
Holland, man.
Really?
Yeah, but it's just because, like I said, for my main thing was we were real poor.
Yeah.
So I had no clothes, and I'll admit it. Like people would be like, "Oh, food, like I got no gear."
He's
you know?
broke.
Exactly.
His whole family.
Exactly.
That
so I
sucks.
hated that. I hated the stigma of being poor. Even now, like I, back in the day, like mental health, you know.
Yeah.
But I think about it.
Suck it up.
No, I think like right now I always keep $1 or $2 in my wallet. Why? Because if I don't have $1, I go back to my mentality as a kid. I'm broke.
I don't have anything.
That's
Yes.
that's an interesting
Like,
way of carrying yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, no
you know?
doubt.
Because
Because-
again,
right? It makes you
I
feel.
read a little bit about, which we'll get into later, but about the book you wrote.
Yeah.
And there was something where you said where you finally realized, that the poverty that you were living
Yeah.
in, and it's the same thing with me.
Yeah.
I grew up poor as fuck. And
Exactly.
my sister will tell if you
Yeah,
see my
yeah.
sister, but we grew up poor as fuck.
Yeah.
So
So it's a fear, huh?
Yeah,
Like
it's a
I don't want to
fear,
go
and it's
back
like-
to that.
Yeah. Pro Wings and Pro Club,
Yeah,
literally.
yeah,
Literally.
yeah.
I couldn't even afford that.
Yeah, we couldn't afford that.
What?
My
That
mom used
was
to- my
wasn't
mom
that the
used to-
standard go-to though?
My
We
mom used
couldn't
to
afford that,
My
though.
mom would make our clothes, fool.
Make
Like,
your
She
clothes.
was a
Oh
seamstress.
wow.
She would make our clothes. And as a kid, I was proud. I was like, my mom loves me.
Yeah.
Until I went to junior high, and these fools are wearing Dickies and Nikes and
Bet Davis and
Yeah,
stuff.
and
That
I
was the
so-
thing, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
the
And
one
I had
thing you wanted
no
to wear.
gear. I had like those 5 for 10 t-shirts that are like defective.
Yeah.
Like
Hell
they're
yeah.
on the main. And I didn't know because everybody around me was poor. So you don't realize until you see better. Like even when I talked to my wife, my wife was like, "Oh, I had Nikes. I had this and I had Levi's." And I was like, "Dude, my first pair of Nikes, I'll never forget." I used to sell chocolates, like I try to make an honest living.
Yeah.
Because my mom and they're honest people. So my mom, when I told her, "Hey, I want to work," and I was only like 10, 11 years old, and I was like, "I want to work." She's like,
Yeah.
"What are you gonna do?" And I was like, "I'm gonna sell chocolates." She was like, "You
Hustle.
know what? I'd rather you do that than steal."
Yep.
But I started working and I started saying, "Dude, this is not for me, bro." Because
Yeah.
You're trying to grind. They're trying to make an easy dollar.
what it was it was an honest thing. The selling chocolates was cool, but the thing that we're getting como estafados, we're getting exploited by those people doing it. Why? Because we're selling chocolates for $5 and we'd only make $1 out of those 5,
Damn.
right? Which I respect the hustle. It is what it is.
Were you in those vans?
Yes, I was in the vans,
shit.
fool.
I know about that.
Yeah, there'll be like 20 kids in those
Yep.
vans, fool.
Dude,
Just
you see
selling.
a bunch of kids just popping out. I remember in my
Yes,
neighborhood, they
fool.
pop out and selling those chocolates that
Yeah.
they sell now. Now they're selling for like $5 a
It's
chocolate.
ridiculous
Yeah.
now, man.
No,
You
now
think
it's
ain't-
like $8.
I found them for
$6.
$5 so
okay,
far.
That's good.
So that's
good.
cheap.
Yeah, I used to sell them for $5 back then, and it was crazy because let's say like on Saturday we would work 8 hours, and if you didn't sell no chocolates, you didn't make no money, dog.
That's crazy.
That's right.
You were out there all day hustling the sudado.
Yeah.
And just keep in mind, there's no cell phones in those days.
Yeah, no.
So we used to put chalk on the floor, and the van would just drive around looking for you like that. So you got lost. I got lost a couple times, and I'll be like, "Hey, can I call somebody?" Like
No way.
Yeah, boom. Or you'll be
Damn.
just sitting on the corner waiting for somebody to fucking pick you up.
Wild.
Just
Yeah,
circling.
So that's really what motivated me to commit crime because I was like, dude, I'm out here making
Nothing.
$20, $10 a day. I could just go rob some pants. And it was a
Damn.
cop out,
Yeah.
because now I look at it like that was not a good reason. But
It's not,
that's-
but it's in some ways it was easier.
that's really what pushed me because I was like, dude, why am I gonna sell chocolates and do this, and this when I could just go to the t-shirt world and just steal 10 Ben Davis? It's
Right.
cheaper. I'll just
Yeah.
run out.
Then would you flip them and try and hustle them out in the streets
I
too, or
would
just
wear
keep them?
them
They're
and
yours.
sell some too,
Yeah.
But little by little, I started noticing. I started walking more towards the easy way, and like I admit it, that was wrong. I
Right.
shouldn't have done it. But it's at that time you're young and everybody else is doing it, and you just fall into that cycle, And even like in my book, because I'm writing part 2 of my book.
Oh, okay.
The first chapter, I explained, like in depth, why I joined the gang.
Right.
And the kind of people that are around me, because in a gang, it's like people think, oh, we're all different. Nah, it's all broken people. You recruit people like you, people that come from broken homes,
Right.
People that are missing a father in the house, right? Here and there, you'll see these rich kids that join gangs
Yeah.
or well-off kids.
They just like
But
it.
yeah, but they like desmadre. They
Yeah.
want to fit in.
Right.
And when I see kids like that, because I go to jails and I talk to kids like that, and I see kids like, bro, you have a family, like, why you around pieces of shit like us? Go with your family.
Yeah.
Bro. I have a friend that just recently told me that he grew up riding horses.
That's awesome.
And he would go
That's
dirt
not cheap.
bark. Yeah, exactly. When he told me this, he thought I was gonna be like, oh, that's what's up. I said, nah, fool. I said, you're an idiot. I said, you think if I rode a horse I'd be right here fucking breaking cement with you. Hell no. I would have made something of myself, bro.
Yeah.
I'm here because I'm an idiot and I had no way out. If you had a way out and you chose this life, you're dumber than me, bro. Right? Like, and he's an older homie.
It's truth.
But later on, he told me, "Hey, bro, what you told me that day was
That
was knowledge."
There's so much
It's
truth to
though,
that.
Like, because I've known a few people that
Well off.
who had parents,
Privileged.
both mom and dad, and were always taken care of, and for some reason they
wanna
fall
smoke
off.
meth.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
not meth?
Yep.
I remember growing up too, thinking like, yeah, I want to be part of something like that too, like gang life and shit. You know, and that like even at around
I'ma
that
try
age,
it.
11 or 12. But I was pretty lucky, like too. And you know, my mom and dad, like I went to like private school.
Yeah,
I went to
same.
like St. Louis of France and
That's
Bishop
good.
Amant, like things
Good
like that.
schools.
I was really lucky, you know, like, and we grew up in La Puente though. Right, but I would look back and be like, man, my cousins and my family were in the hood and Puente and Bassett and
Yeah.
all this shit. And then as you get older, you know, you're really
fuck
like,
all that.
fuck that shit. You know what I mean?
You know
Like
what
it's
it
not
is?
fun.
I think as kids, you just want to be accepted, though. Like
True,
before, I used to be
yeah.
like,
You're
I'm
right.
never gonna be. I'm a leader now.
See,
we
and-
just want to be accepted. We want
Yeah.
to be part of something, right?
I'm gonna chime in. So check this out. I was
Andy,
one of
I don't know if your mic's on, brother.
those-
Yeah, let me see. I think you gotta go on.
I think it probably died.
Oh man, we got to hardline you, but go ahead.
Yeah, no worries. I grew up first in La Puente.
Okay.
Then moved to Diamond Bar. And people
Okay.
like Diamond Bar.
Oh yeah.
Culture
Rich
shock.
city, culture shock, right?
Yeah.
Both my parents died when I was a little kid.
shit.
That was my trauma, and they were from Puente. But I had a healthy, good family. Like we had food in the refrigerator, clothes. I mean, all the finances were taken care of. But I ended up gangbanging in the 90s. Also,
Yeah,
got
see.
jumped in, at like 13 years old.
Oh, okay, Sim.
But I had everything. I had smarts. I had everything. But like just like you said, man,
You're missing
It's,
that one piece.
I was missing
Or
something.
something wasn't addressed in your life. A trauma
Something
or
wasn't
something.
addressed. I was missing a piece, and then there was a couple of boys
Yeah.
Right.
who were my age that moved in from Lincoln Heights.
Oh,
There it
They
is.
brought the LA mentality, and the next thing you know, I'm slanging nickel bags.
Oh yeah.
I got
Hustling.
Got killed. Their homeboy got killed, so all of a sudden I got a part of. Like,
You got sucked into
I
it.
got sucked into all this,
Yeah.
but the
For sure.
broken, and I worked
That's
gang
crazy.
intervention for like 18 years.
Oh,
So I
shit,
worked with
that's
all
good.
kinds of youngsters.
That's good.
And but like I said, broken kids, recruiting broken kids.
Yep.
And I'll leave it at this.
That's
man.
so well put too.
I can't help but always think of that movie Pinocchio. You know, but he wants
Yeah.
to be a real boy.
A real boy, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
he goes to the
Yeah.
Pleasure Island and he gets caught
Yeah.
up, and like that story of life,
Yeah,
man.
it's true.
But it's
That's a good
interesting.
example. That's a good
The
metaphor.
rich kids,
Yeah.
even the rich kids, but if you don't have
Something.
that love
Yeah, that's
and
exactly.
that guidance,
Something that's not addressed, right? You're
Right.
missing something. It could be like you said.
It's always a missing piece.
parents, or just
Where
love,
people lead
you
that
know?
way.
yeah.
Yep.
Or even just to be appreciated. I feel like, right?
Oh
No
yeah.
doubt, dude.
And going back to like what you were saying, just seeing the scenery of like
Yeah,
the
like
gangs.
you said, it just sucked
Yeah,
them in.
you know, you
not
see
even
it.
knowing.
For sure.
For me, like back when I was younger, I think I was 5, maybe 6. My mom, the time that my mom was working, my babysitters were from Northside.
Oh shit.
They were my babysitters. They were my neighbors, and so for me, seeing them and how the mentality that they were putting on me, like the way that they were trying to basically raise me, it was like, F this. And I remember one time coming home and I had to go straight to their house, and I had a Superman shirt and the S is red. They ripped my shirt. So that was my mentality for years.
Don't
I
wear
mentioned
red.
this in one of the interviews that I never wore red until about 25 years old.
Yeah, that was me for years.
For
Yeah.
years, I would not wear red because that was just the
It gets
mentality.
engraved in your mind.
was
and you don't even know why.
engraved.
You're just like, you don't know why. You don't know what it represents. Like, because you're so young. But somebody tell you don't do it. And
Yeah.
it's somebody that's like an older person to you.
Isn't that
So you go
shit
by
at
it.
some point? Isn't that shit just? It's fucking dumb.
But that's the
Yeah.
it's engraved.
Like I
in you.
mean, honestly, like because I get that, but like my cousins would wear the Pirates hat,
Yeah.
and that for for Puente, right? And I used to think like, what? Like no, that's the Pittsburgh Pirates. They suck, and their pitching is terrible.
Yeah.
They have a badass outfielder, and like
that goes
that's-
for any game,
I'm
right?
just
Even
saying
for
though,
people in Pomona,
like
when they were
overall,
the P,
bro,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like,
So-
it's just
The
so
Pittsburgh
redundant.
Steelers, yeah.
Like it's so redundant to
Yeah.
me where I'm like I don't know. I just don't
Yeah.
see the
I see it.
the connection
The-
for me, right? But
the example I give to the kids, because you know how I tell you, like he said, he does gang intervention.
yeah,
Well, let's say what I tell you is gonna the best metaphor. It's gonna stick to you is You know, like, because my lady's a dog. She loves animals, right?
For sure, yeah.
So you know when you put the collar on a dog and he's like barks and shocks him.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Shock collar.
What older homies are doing to young homies is that you if I say
That-
don't do it, it was shocking him.
That's a good
So
analogy.
if you grow up and somebody's telling you don't say this, don't do this, it's like he's always gonna remember. Oh shit, I got kicked for this.
Yeah.
I got shocked. You know.
Oh
So
yeah.
that's how I think of with.
I wouldn't even put it like that, but
Yeah.
that's pretty good.
It was so instilled in us,
Look
especially
at you
during
guys
that.
with your analogies today,
you
man.
couldn't
All
do it.
three of
You
you,
couldn't do it.
damn.
Yeah, it was so instilled in us during those days that even myself, like, and shout out to your wife, the fact that her cousin is somebody who
Yeah,
I went
grew
to
up
school with.
Small
Yeah.
world.
And I used to like basically jock him because, you
Always
know, at that
fresh.
time he was always fresh,
Fresh,
white
yeah.
T-shirt, creased up. He had dope ass Ben Davis. Every day he walked in with different colored like Dickies or Ben Davis,
Yeah.
always
And they're
looking
expensive
fresh.
back in those days.
And
dude.
I was the
Yeah.
poor kid.
Yeah.
I only had 2 pair of pants, 3 shirts. That was it. That was
Rotate.
That was the
all.
go-
And
and
rotate
rotation.
them.
That's what I used to do.
Got to the point where it was like, damn, I don't even have clothes. And then finally, I talked to a cousin of mine, and he bought me my first Dickies and my first
Happy as fuck.
Ben Davis shirt, my Nike Cortez. Bro, it was like, you know,
You're like, I
was
fit in.
I
I'm
fit
part of
in.
the
Yeah.
crew
I
now.
am
like,
finally
yeah.
in.
Yeah.
And
I
yeah,
made it.
it felt
Yeah, I made
amazing
it.
until it wasn't. My mom
Yeah.
kicked the shit out
Yeah.
of me.
I
for
can't wait
looking
to
like
go to
a-
school. And
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, it was the shit for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, of
Wearing
course.
fresh Nike, black and white Nike
Oh, yeah.
Cortez.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It was instilled in us. That was what I wanted to do and wear.
Yeah. Even like we're referring to the whole red. I'll give you guys an example. To this day, I
Yeah.
still get backlash. Because my lady knows, like, I barely started wearing colors like that, like green, red,
Switching it up.
yellow.
Yeah.
The other day, I was this close to buying some pink shoes. And
What?
my lady was like, "You're not buying that bullshit." And I was like, "Dude, they're monopolies. They're Nikes, but it's the game Monopoly."
Oh shit.
Okay, yeah.
So I was like, "Dude, I'm gonna get the fucking Monops." And
Yeah.
she's like, "No, you're not." And I was like, "Bro, I could be kicking it on the corner with the Monops."
With the money.
Tell her it's
Hiding
bro.
from the ops.
I like that.
Stopping with that bullshit.
October breast cancer
Yeah.
Breast
awareness.
cancer
girl.
awareness,
Come
I
yeah.
was throwing all that shit. in
She's
the-
like, nope.
She's like, "You're not getting
like,
those
"No, I'm not
fucking
having
ugly
that."
shoes." But you know what? I tell her, "Hey, I know you don't like it, but it's a part of me that's growing."
Yeah.
Because even like we said, red. I never used to wear red. Maybe like a couple months ago, I wore my first red shirt. Oh my god!
Damn.
I got maybe like 200,000 views on Instagram and TikTok. So they gave me feria for that. But if you look at all my comments, so much backlash.
Damn,
No way.
you
real?
fucking buster, dissing me. And I'm just like, bro, like, instead of saying, "Hey, good job, you're growing, you're stepping out of that shell."
No.
fools are like, get back
No,
in
I'm
that
gonna
shell.
shove you right
Go
back down,
there.
bro.
And I
No.
tell my
Shock
lady,
treatment.
yes,
Isn't that wild?
The shock treatment,
Like
no
there's
doubt.
still that mentality.
Still, fools are like,
It's-
"Hey, you dummy, take that off." And then you know what? I don't even trip. Before I would go back and forth because
Right.
it's an ego thing. I'm
Yeah.
from the
Oh,
streets.
Oh yeah.
So
And then when you
it's-
get into it in social media,
Ah,
you're the one
What's
losing.
what's the purpose? Yeah, like
yeah,
seriously,
so
you're the
me,
one.
I
losing.
just honestly I delete the comment or block them. Like, I ain't gonna waste my time with you. Fool.
Yeah.
No point.
We should build an AI algorithm for you, so when people do have those comments, you just kind of like light it up
Yes,
with
yeah.
the AI and be
Yeah.
like, I'm done with that
Whatever.
guy.
That's
I
what
ain't
I
gonna
do.
worry about taking stress out of my time.
It's not worth it because like I listen to different stuff and I just think once I give that person that power, they have that power over me.
Yeah.
They ruined my day, and nobody should have that kind of power over you. It should
They've
be
tapped
just
into
you.
your whole world
Yes,
right there
now I'm
because
mad at work, and I'm upset with my lady.
I pushed this button.
over some dumb shit, over
Yeah.
some guy that doesn't even have an icon. On
I
his-
Yeah.
know.
Right.
The check verification.
Yeah, like, bro, you ain't nobody. Why are you worried about me? And that's another thing I tell people. It's like, if I'm growing, why are you mad if I'm trying to grow? You should be mad if I'm sinking
Yeah.
or stealing from you.
yeah.
Yeah, people don't
Or-
want to see that all the
Or
time.
hurting
though.
other people.
That's
Yeah.
too positive.
Yeah.
It's too positive.
When I was negative, stealing shit, nobody cared.
Nah.
But now that I'm actually trying to make moves and do better, that's when people are like, you fucking sold out.
Well, they
When you
cared
sell
in a
out-
sense that they can talk shit about you.
Yeah.
Like, that fool's fucking
Yeah.
up. Fuck that fool. That fool's gonna end up in prison anyway.
But the reality is, I always tell people, I've been there. I've been in prison. I've been in all this. I've been on that. And you know what? I got a taste of a different life. Like, you know how people, they find religion. They find
Yeah.
different stuff. Me, I look at my second chance was in comedy. Why? Because I literally was able to become a whole nother person.
Yeah.
Young Beavz. I have a whole
Whole nother identity. Yes, sir.
You know,
That's
I'm on
crazy.
stage and these people don't know that I was a criminal, carjacker.
Yeah.
You know, I've been
All
busted
that.
for kidnapping, You
Damn.
know, and they don't know that.
And,
you know,
and speaking of carjacking and you getting involved in the gangs, I know you said you were around 11,
yeah,
12 years old
Yeah, I
when
was a
you
kid.
got involved. I kind of want to get a little more into that.
So I started getting incarcerated like at the age of 11. I was a young kid, you know.
At
Juvenile
11?
hall status?
Yeah.
Damn.
I was a kid, sixth grade, sixth, seventh grade, like Holland time.
Yeah.
You know, and it started really small. You know, like drug possession, like probation violations, like petty stuff. Because people are like, oh yeah, he's doing this. But I feel like you elevate through that. You know, you escalate. You start with little petty crimes.
Yeah.
And little stealing,
To the bigger
shoplifting.
ones.
Yeah, it turns into armed robbery. Because that, and the thing is, when you're young, you don't even know. You know, like when I got busted for armed robbery, literally what it was we were jacking somebody inside of a store, and we took it, and my homie had a knife on him, like say on the side,
Yeah, a little pocket knife.
and it was forceful. So they put 211. So it was an armed robbery. And I
Oh,
was like, dude,
wow. But he didn't even brandish the weapon or
Nothing,
expose
dude,
it just
nothing.
because it was in possession.
But
He
at
was
that at that
forced.
time,
On
they
your
can
body.
pop you with
Yeah,
anything.
back at this time, like we're saying, it was the Pete Wilson
Pete
era.
Wilson era.
Yeah.
Pete Wilson was not playing, dude. He was trying to get rid of these people. Which, in essence, like going back to it, it was bad. Like we were saying,
Yeah.
people were bad.
It
People
was
were making
crazy.
mistakes, and
You
there
saw-
has to be law, right? You have
You
to keep-
saw people were getting killed and hurt all the
for
time.
no reason. Kids
For nothing.
babies, and with the drive-bys, like
All
so
the time.
it was bad. So pretty much, I started going, getting busted like at 11. I went to the first time I went to jail, I went to like placement, juvenile hall, like Los Padrinos. I went to Central. I went to I was in foster care,
Damn.
Right
So I
here
went
too.
through, I went through all that shit, dude.
Did
And
you
it-
get into McLaren Hall?
I went to McLaren Hall.
One of the worst
And no,
places.
yes, I tell my lady about that place because from McLaren Hall they shipped me to this lady's house. I won't say who she was, but to this day, that's why whenever I meet somebody who's been in foster care, it makes me feel like damn, I was there because that lady literally would always tell me, "You're $1,200."
Damn.
And I didn't know what that was.
That's a number.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
that's how much they would
Because
get
That's
pay her.
She had 8
That's it.
kids, and we were all $1,200. And she wasn't buying us clothes, nothing.
She didn't
and
care.
like I said, I won't say all the people were like that, but most.
Good
There's
majority.
a good percentage
Exactly.
that are.
It's you're an author straight
Mm-hmm.
up. You wrote a book called "Misled Kids: My Time in Juvenile Hall,
Yes.
Camp, and Youth Authority."
Mm-hmm.
And now that you brought that part out, it's your memoir,
Yeah.
right? Like that you were talking about your time in jail
As a kid.
As a kid, but give us a little bit of like when you're going through that time because it led to you writing this book,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. So pretty much what that book is based on is like what experience as a kid. I talk about a little bit about my family, my upbringing. Like I never knew my dad. My real dad, he could be in front of me and I wouldn't even know what he looks like.
Till this day, right?
To this day, I
no
don't know
connection at all.
No connection. I
Does your
don't know.
mom ever bring it up?
Nothing. It's like the guy doesn't exist.
Oh wow!
Like the only memory I have of him is there was like a real bad fight, and I just remember his voice. He had like a real deep voice, And I remember he was like one of those guys that was like super machista, because even like when we would play with toys, we would have to hide him before he would come.
Hide your
Because-
toys?
because that fool would come and like break them. Like he was real like a macho fool. Like hey, nah, like you don't be a man.
He just not even like try to be funny about it.
Nothing. He was just like
I'm gonna destroy your
yeah.
toys. What
nah,
are you
he was
doing?
just-
Like
he just
what
looked
the?
at it. Now that I'm older, I look at it like he probably had a rough childhood.
Oh,
you know
for
what I mean?
sure.
So he's bringing that on us. Like,
Yeah.
Like they say, you parent how you were parented.
You're
Okay.
right. You're
Oh, yeah, there's a
100%
lot of,
correct.
If they
Well,
don't know
and I
how to show
failed.
love, you don't
Yeah,
do it.
I was failing on that
Yeah.
for a while. Like when
Me
I
too.
had my first kid.
Yeah, but you're
Because-
pretty good about that, man. I mean, sorry to interrupt you
In
right there,
time, no.
but like he became like this. He's really
better
good with
parent.
his kids.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I've been around him for many years and great with the kids.
But it was
know,
a process, like he said.
Oh, dude.
but I also know he had a super crazy upbringing with
Yeah.
his mom and stuff
Yeah,
too.
see.
So it's like how he's pretty much deflected that and like put on the
They're
better side.
Yeah,
for
which is
the kids.
good because
Yeah.
they say you either gonna copy or erase. So
Yeah.
you erased. You
Yeah.
say, and it would not that it's bad because even like my mom, my parents, I don't talk about it, but they weren't the best of parents. But I look at it like they were the best they could do. Because my wife would be like, oh yeah, you justify it. But it's like, I know how it is, because they didn't know no better. Like we got spanked, we got beat, like got
Yeah.
like
Same here, yeah.
Now you can't even do that. We got
Oh,
hooked
God
up.
forbid.
Don't
Yeah.
you dare
God
discipline
forbid.
anybody, bro.
But I look at it like, you know what? Like that's all they knew. That's how
Yeah,
they
yeah,
were
yeah.
raised out there, and some of it was extreme, but I look at it like, you know what? I can't hate them forever Because, like even going into my story when I was in jail, I went through a lot of trauma in jail, and I hated like certain neighborhoods. I hated them because of what happened to me.
Right.
But, as years went by, I started thinking like, why would I hate these people? Because if, they did what they knew. If the shoe was turned and I outnumbered them, I would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't show them mercy.
What made
How old were you when you first got caught up?
Like 11, 12 years old. That's what I'm saying. I was a kid. Once I started, the thing with me is like once I started kicking it with my homies, we started committing crimes, and I started like seeing that, it came with getting incarcerated. And what's weird is that everybody like from my area, my time, my era, started going to camp, started going to juvenile hall. And I didn't see nothing wrong with it. I looked at it like, okay, I'm going to be on the streets for 30 days and I'm going to go do 6 months. I'm going to be on the streets for 2 months, go do a year. Like that was just the cycle. Like I was like, okay, I used to call it a vacation.
Yeah, the vacation.
Go
But
vacation real
what
quick.
crime did you do that you would say gave you the longest sentence?
The carjacking when I was a kid. That's when I went to
How
Hawaii.
That happened in Ballpark.
That was at 11?
It happened at Morgan Park.
Ah,
Morgan
good old
Park.
Morgan Park.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then that led to, how long was that sentence?
They gave me a total of 7 years for that.
Wow.
But just because I had just...
As a juvenile.
As a juvenile, yeah. I had just got out of jail when this happened.
Yeah.
What I was mentioning earlier, like, I started kicking with my homies. I'm doing community service at Morgan Park because that's where we had to go. In my neighborhood, in Ballpark Park, there's north side and east side.
Yep.
So the courts know that I can't be on the east side because I'm from north side. And they know they can't be on the north side. Sometimes they make mistakes and they throw us on different parts, but they're supposed to keep us separate because of that.
That's so
And I had
crazy.
just got locked up for an issue that I had because there's a street that's Ramona. Ramona separates north side and east side. That was like the invisible line in Ballpark Park.
Yeah.
And north side is small. We're a real small old gang. Like right now, we're maybe like 50, 60 of us.
That's it.
Not a whole
There's
lot.
not a lot of north side.
Yeah.
It's a small gang. We're a small community, but we all know each other. Like
Yeah.
I could be like, oh yeah, I know that fool. Even my younger homies, I see them, I'm like, oh yeah, it's my little homie right there. Boom, boom, boom. We're small, but we've always gone at it with different gangs. Big gangs, east side, and everybody else around us, whatever, right?
And do you go back to the hood sometimes?
I still kick it with them here and there. Like, somebody got married.
Yeah.
One of my homies passes, different things. But I'm not like kicking it on the corner.
All the time.
Nah, I can't do it. Like I said earlier, I just go eat tacos. And I'm in
And
and
I'm
out.
out.
Whereabouts?
What's that place called, babe? The tacos, man? El Taconazo.
Oh, El Taconazo. You
Oh,
still go there?
Taconazo.
I
Okay.
still go there, but
That's still there.
I don't
Damn.
Even, back
Yeah.
in the days, I'd be like, oh, checking into Taconazos. Hell no, I don't do that no more.
Nah.
Hell no, because somebody might catch me slipping.
Pull
Set
up.
yourself
Yeah.
up, bro.
Right? Hey, that fool's there, just get him.
Our spot, well, aside
Good.
from Taconazo, my dad would take me to Taconazo, and he only took me there because of the girls.
Yeah.
He used me as his little pawn, like
That's what's up.
lure in the girls.
Yeah.
You
Dad,
know,
bro.
that mujeriego over there, dude. But
Yeah.
Starburgers was
Starburst, that's the one I
was the
told you about.
spot.
I love it. Right next door. Bomb.
Yeah.
Big,
Is
I
that
remember the
st-
big
that's
old
still there
basket
too,
of
right?
fries. It's still there.
Yeah, it's still there.
So you guys
Starburgers.
had Starburgers and we had Chris's
had
Burgers.
Chris's
Chris
Burgers.
is good. I've tried Chris's.
Yeah, that's
But
good.
I think the spot for us is still Linda's Burgers.
Linda's?
Yeah.
because that's right there.
That's right there.
Like,
30, dude, there used to be like 50-cent
39
burgers.
cents
39
hamburgers.
cents. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, the 39-cent burger.
right there.
Damn.
Straight Golden Ox.
Golden
Ox
Ox.
is bomb,
Golden
dude.
Ox.
I still
What a
love
trip that
place.
things that like you go to like in your neighborhood like
landmarks.
you identifies like, oh, I know where that's at. Like
Well,
Wow.
that 39-cent
So
burger
good.
on
Chris
Los
is
Angeles, that one got closed down. If I'm not mistaken, is because somebody had gotten killed there.
Yeah, it was
shot
bad.
and killed.
It was
Yeah.
bad. Yeah.
So did you serve the full 7-year
I
sentence?
did the whole time. Yeah.
No
From
way,
when I was
bro.
a kid, I got out when I was 18, turned 19. They were trying to
Damn.
actually ship me to YTS, but what it was is when I went to YA, I had a bunch of issues.
Yeah.
So like we were saying earlier, I'm from a small gang.
Yeah.
But we don't get along with like 18th Street and other bigger
Other
gangs.
gang, yeah.
So what happened with that was I went to YA and the biggest gangs there were my enemies.
Oh, damn.
So and you have to understand, like we were talking earlier off camera, the culture and the thing back then was
For sure.
like dominate your enemies. So let's say you're in the numbers game. Why would you not want to dominate this little guy that
No
just
doubt.
came? That's what it is. You oppress them, you smash them out. So
That's
every
crazy.
person that went from enemies of those people got smashed out.
That's crazy.
Whether if it was from Sangra or different gangs that didn't get along with those gangs that were in power, you were not making it. You were getting smashed out. You fought your way here and there, but the cops would be like, hey, let's move this fool to another unit. Let's move him to another jail.
You
So-
wrote this book, right? And what when was it in the correctional times? Like,
Yes,
did you
so
write it
this-
during that
no,
time
no,
or
no.
just
I wrote
right
it just
after?
recently. Like the thing was, like when I went to YA, a lot of people knew what happened, because like
Yeah.
YA was open for 100 years.
Right.
And in those 100 years, only 3 people experienced what I experienced. You know, and I'm the last one. You know, the other homie was from San Diego. He overdosed in prison.
Wow.
And then there was another homie that he's from the IE, and that fool's like, he kind of like lost it, you know? So he's like, last I heard, he was like in a mental place, whatever, you know? He was going through some stuff.
You're definitely not in a mental place.
Yeah. I got my issues, but
No. Yeah,
I'm right here. I'm still pretty good.
No doubt. But like you're further than a lot of the guys that you were with
Yes.
before, like being incarcerated or whatever it was. And
I honestly
you got
owe
us
it to
struggle.
that I embraced the pain, you know?
Okay.
Because for years I would they're like, nah, it never happened. Like that happened, that chapter's closed. But like we were saying earlier, like you tapped into something you didn't address. Like he said, something wasn't right. So I started noticing, you know, I went to prison and I was like, okay, this happened in prison, but something's eating at me.
Yeah.
So I started thinking about my trauma in YA. And I was like, dude, that's what's triggering me, you know, because I never addressed it. I never talked about it. I never publicly said what happened.
Boom.
And you know what? Sometimes you have to.
And then when more.
In YA, I mean, aside from the whole gang violence and you know all that shit,
was like
there
racial.
Was there more to it that occurred to you that happened?
No. Yeah, what it was really like, it was like a real, just imagine like a YA was like, anybody's been a YA will tell you, it was like a place where it was like eat or be eaten. Like we were fighting every day.
So it's everyday violence.
Everyday violence. And
so
you know, with that
PTSD.
Exactly. Just that and just the trauma that I endured. It was like something that a kid's not supposed to endure, you know? And even when it was happening, I was like, dude, why is this happening to me? Because, you know, like we were talking earlier, it's like there's La Puente here, La Puente, Bassett, you know, Ballin Park.
All of
so you like devote yourself to something, right? And you're like, I did everything right. And that was what really would eat me up. Because all my life, I said, I played it cool. I never ranked out. I never snitched. So why now that I'm so devoted to my gang, I came to YA, and this is the reason why I'm being persecuted because of my loyalty to these
playing
people.
It cool. Yeah.
So it made me like feel conflicted, you know, because I gave my life to my hood. I put my cards. I put it before my family.
You know what's funny? You say that. And Jay was in here with us, Jay Solano, and he said something like the same thing. Like I gave so much to that hood, and like now he's like he's an actor and a model, and we're like, man, bro, like you know, it's exactly how we felt, right? We're like, wow, you know,
fly cholo.
Yeah, he's a fly cholo, bro. So when Jay said
shout out
something,
to Jay Solano,
shout out Jay, and when Jay said something like that too, that kind of resonated with me as well, because I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, you see your community, right? Your neighborhood and stuff, and you go there. It's just so familiar, right? But at the same time, you're like, I gave you guys everything, but you guys only gave me this much. And that was it. And it turns out that I really didn't need you that much. I needed more of my head to be checked on and what direction I was headed.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that you like found like that way out, even like out of like prison, or out of jail, like I'm, let's tell you're 20-year-old, you're coming out of jail. What do you do now?
Like pretty much commit crimes. That's what I did.
Yeah.
Because that's all I knew.
After
because like the way I grew up was like, I'll give an example to my upbringing. My mom, we were gonna get beat. Like my stepdad were getting beat. So I got into the mentality, if I'm gonna get beat up, I'm gonna make it worth it.
Might as well.
You know? If I'm gonna steal, I'm gonna make it worth it. Whatever I do, I've always had to say I double down on all my losses. It's a stupid mentality, but I've always thought it.
Right.
You know, but if you turn that to
because there was nothing left to lose.
Exactly. Double down. Like,
might as well.
Even in Vegas, we go to Vegas, I'm like, I'm not gonna go home with no money. Last dollar.
Right?
My lady's like, I'm putting my 100 away. I'm like,
that's awesome.
Damn, baby, let's go. Spin it, right? And it's a stupid mentality. But if you think about it, that's what helped me get out of all that shit.
And I always say, I always told my kids, no risk, no reward. You know what I mean? Like, you got to take the risk.
Yeah,
well, no risk, no reward goes to like if you're trying to do something right. But when growing up, like especially for him,
that's a dumb mentality.
That was by far, a dumb. No disrespect to you, but it was a dumb mentality. Because you're not only putting yourself in a situation where you're gonna get fucked over, but you're fucking yourself over, and you're just gonna
in the process.
But also, that's the mentality that wins wars.
Exactly. I'm in the same way. I'm a strategist. I take pride in being a strategist, and it does because. Not to say names, but the biggest names, Napoleon, they double down.
That's true.
It's all or nothing, you know? And like me and my lady, we talk, and I love to like read, like, different stuff, like philosophy and shit like that. And the biggest philosophers, the greatest minds always double down. They always say, hey, you know what? How can I turn this loss into a win?
A win,
You know,
yeah.
and you don't look at it like a loss. Like all my life, I pretty much fucked it over. But I looked at it like, okay, if I would have went through all that, I wouldn't be the person I am now. You know, I you know, when I was in YA, I was alone for years. You know, I didn't have homies.
Yeah.
I didn't have
No one came through.
Yeah, none of my
None of them.
like not even my raza.
They didn't even check in.
Not even the Mexicans. Like if
Yeah.
you read my book,
Yeah.
the Mexicans didn't want nothing to do with me at all. And you know, that's a scary thing to do. You know, like a lot of my videos from YA resurface. You know, and people are like, oh, that's fucking this, and he's a PC, and this is, and I'm like, bro, if you never went to that, if you've never experienced that, how can you speak on that?
Yeah.
You've never been there. You've never been alone where there's 50 fools against you.
Yeah. No.
Who assures me you could even make it? I made it. Would you make it?
Yeah. That's the truth.
You know?
Where was the turning point?
The turning point for me was, you know, like I found myself, like I said, when I got out of jail, you know, I literally committed a crime 2 weeks later. I got out of jail and me and my homie was gonna rob a bank.
Oh, damn.
A bank.
We were Albertsons.
no.
You know, remember the Albertsons right
Yeah.
there?
Yeah, I remember
The
Albertsons.
armored
But still
truck.
in the hood.
Still in the hood.
Oh,
So
shit.
this is all we were saying earlier off camera.
Yeah.
I started noticing, because when I got out, I was like, I can function. I could get out, kick it with the homies, go to work. So I had got a little temporary job.
Right.
But I was still in my mind not ready to change. You know, and that's why I tell kids now when I talk to them, like, hey, bro, you have to be ready to change fully. Like, you can't be like this. I'm going to change. I'm not going to change. I'm going to change.
Can't go back and forth.
Nah.
Teeter
It's
totter.
one or the other.
You can't do it.
Yeah.
You're either gonna do bad and write it, or do good and write it. You know. So my turning point, it's kind of started. It took me a long time, right? Me and my homies are kicking it, and I'm kicking it with one of my older homies, and he's like, "Hey, fool, let's hit a lick," and he's like lacing me up, and I've always been attracted to people that are making moves, right? That are still hood, but out of the hood, like making moves. I'm like,
Right.
okay, he's hood, but he's making money. Like that's where I want to be. He's still gangster, but he's a gentleman, bro. Like
Yeah.
he can balance it. You know, I've always
Yeah.
thought that was cool. Like, cause I feel like a knucklehead is just a knucklehead. He's just being dumb. He's just hitting himself against the wall.
Yeah.
I never wanted to be that. I always wanted to be like a thinker, somebody who's
A strategist. Like you said.
exactly. And,
Yeah,
know,
like you were saying.
exactly. So my homie's like, we got a plan. We're gonna rob an armored truck. Thought of the whole plan. We're all strapped up. And my homie, this is when meth came in bad to Ballin Park. It's epidemic,
it was
right?
so
Ballpark
bad,
did
bro.
get hit bad with
Real
meth.
bad.
Horrible.
That whole area.
Yeah,
La Puente, Bon Park,
Bad.
Monte. That
All
whole
that
area,
meth, right? So my homie had a rule where he said, when we do a lick, nobody's high, nobody's drunk.
bro. Okay, yeah.
If you can't do it, you're not.
Don't do
this
it.
ain't for you.
Yeah, for sure.
So we all came, and I wrote about it in my book. One of my homies pulled up to the lick, super tweaked out, like sweating
Damn.
bullets. And my homie's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I just woke up." He's like, "Ooh, you look
You already
horrible.
fucked
Like,
us up.
Get the fuck out of
Yeah.
here, fool! Like it's a liability to us."
Yep.
Yep.
And you know, back then I didn't understand it, but now I'm like, okay, if the cops see him high, that's the first person they're gonna interrogate. They're gonna fuck with his head because his head's not right.
Right.
And he's all tweaked out.
Exactly, he's not headstrong. There are some people that can function, but how long you gonna put up that charade?
Yeah,
bro,
that
till they
doesn't
finally
last a long time, though.
poke that hole.
Yeah, bro,
So literally, what we did is we ended up doing another crime. We get arrested for it. We both go to prison. I go to prison for 5 years. He gets 20 years.
Whoa.
The
Because-
dude that was leading it
Yeah.
got 20 years?
20 years. He had just got out for doing 10 years.
Damn.
I still can't get over the planning fact where I'm like I picture these guys like sitting in a room in Ballpark
Like the
at a
heist.
pad,
Yeah, yeah.
and they're
Like the heist,
this,
like the movie The Heist.
like
Literally, we had a
pencil
whole-
sketching,
Yeah.
dog.
So
So
we're
crazy.
gonna
We
hit
had
it
a
from
whole
this south
setup.
side over
Yes.
here.
We were
No way.
literally where that street is Bogart. We
Yeah,
had
yeah,
everything
Bogart.
set up
Yeah.
right here. We had the getaway car. Everything was set up.
That's
The
wild.
straps, everything was
What
perfect.
happened? Did
It went bad because of my homie. My
He
homie
was
was high.
not right.
Yeah.
Oh, so you guys still
you
allowed
guys
him to be
did
part of it?
go through with it, knowing that
No, we didn't go through with it because of that. Because my homie was like, we can't do it with two people because we needed 3 people
We
for the
needed-
plan to go through. So we're gonna take off, and my homie's like, you know what? He tells me the reason why he was so eager to push this thing, and this is when I started seeing, no matter how hard you are, you still have a soft spot for something. He had been in jail for 10 years,
right.
kind of providing, but not really. So
Okay.
he tells me as a man, like, hey, you know what? Like, what's eating me up is like, I can't go home because, you know, like my family and my wife told me, like, if I come home and I don't got money, like, I don't have a home.
Damn.
So he
Yeah.
shares something with me, and I tell him, hey, you know what, bro? Like, we're gonna get some feria for you, fool. Like,
Mhm.
like
So you can go
you're
home.
not gonna go home empty-handed, fool. We're gonna go home to your family. And he's all like, thanks, Beaver. Like, you're a real one. And in my head, I'm thinking like, I am a real one. But in reality, I had literally just signed my name to get arrested again, bro.
Damn.
Literally, that's what happened. We did this other crime. We robbed somebody, and they ID'd us like this, bro, like in seconds. Because we robbed them at Bank of America. Police station's right there.
Yeah.
We
That
literally-
BFA right there off Main?
We
yeah,
robbed
on
somebody.
Main
Yeah,
and
it's
Main
right
and
there.
Ballpark Boulevard.
Wow.
Or no, wait. Is it Ballpark Boulevard?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ballpark
Yeah.
Boulevard.
That Food for Less right there, or whatever.
No, it's Maine and Ramona.
Ramona.
Yeah, they pulled up like in minutes, bro, because
No
the security
way.
shot at us from the bank because we're that close. We shot whatever shots were exchanged. We take off and we're doing something. Cops pull up, boom, 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 boom. And I'm just thinking in my head, like, bro, I've been out of 2 weeks, didn't get laid, and I'm going back to fucking jail. And
Just
I was
like
this
that.
close.
Should have thought of that first.
I should have.
At least get laid
Idiots.
first.
But you know what it is? It's just because you think, when you're young and you're that mentality, you don't grasp time.
At that time.
You're like, I'll do it tomorrow. Now I'm like, hell no, I'm doing it today.
You guys had like a shootout, and then I remember looking up all your stuff too. Like you were shot before in the head, and you told us
No, the shooting in the head happened when I went to prison. Well, to the county.
Yeah,
It was
he
after.
mentioned that.
Yeah,
That's why I was
Okay.
asking. I'm like, how do you get shot in prison?
So the whole shootout shit happened. They exchanged fire on us. We fired at them, and those situations, like it was Bond Park Police Department. They did something they shouldn't have done. So they ended up having to kind of plea out because there's certain things whenever shit's exchanged.
Yeah.
Procedures
For law.
and they didn't do some shit because back in those days, Bond Park was shady. Though.
Oh
They
yeah.
were-
yeah.
And that's when you got
yeah.
5.
Yeah, so and I was gonna take less, dog. What happened with that situation was, I was a first time offender as an adult.
Okay.
So my public defender was like, "Hey, fool, you're young. He's a career criminal. Like we're trying to get this full life." But he was my homie, fool, and it was somebody that I was like, "Nah, I'm not gonna let this fool go down." So we
Right.
fought the case, and in order for him to get less time, I would have to take more time.
Oh,
So I
damn.
took 5 with 80 with a strike for the armed robbery. Was that one, and he took 20 with 80.
Damn.
So yeah, that was his deal. That was either 20 or life. That was it. And what's funny is recently, I just saw him. I went to go see George Lopez at
He's
a comedy
out.
show. He got out. He's doing good. He's a trucker. And my lady's like, "Why is this fool hugging you?" And I was like, "Dude, this is my homie. This is the guy I'm writing about in my book. We
Wow,
literally hit a lick
that's
20 years
all.
ago, and now he's out. He's a
And then you
trucker.
guys see each other at a comedy show.
He hugs me.
Of
and
all
he's like-
places.
yeah,
I
he
know.
hugs me, and he's like, "Hey, bro, I still remember that fool." And I was like, "Hey," and he kind of felt like he was like asking me why I didn't. I said, we all deserve a second chance, fool. And I knew that was your second chance. So did he, because now he's a regular guy, works as a truck driver,
You wouldn't even
Being
know.
a working man.
Just a working
Honest man.
and doesn't. And if you were to see him, you wouldn't think he did 30-something years in prison.
Wow, that's a long time, man.
Yeah, dude.
So
Dude.
like my process to change was like that. It was a long process, and I wasn't ready to change for a long time. Like even like when I went to county and all that, I was still doing stupid shit
Yeah.
in there. Because I'm not justifying it, but it's like all I knew since I was a kid.
Is that?
Stupidity was normal to me. So I'm like, I'll hide some drugs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll stab somebody. Oh yes, I'll do it. Because that was the norm. You normalize what's not normal.
For
That's
sure.
why in my book that I'm writing part 2, I write where it says,
What-
on the streets, there's a lot of peace,
Mm-hmm.
and peace makes me uncomfortable because I'm so used to chaos.
Chaos,
I'm
yeah.
used to, madness. I'm used to like, oh shit, what's going on?
Yeah.
And even like at work, there's an alarm by where we live at from the place that, I hear that alarm and the first thing I think of is Yard Down, the prison.
Oh, shit.
Like, oh shit, someone's gonna
Oh,
jump
It's
damn.
that
out.
PTSD, dude.
But it's
I
just
know.
the people doing their job at the gas station.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
When is that second part going to come out on your book?
I'm working on it right now. I'm trying to. So the part 1 I released it. That's the one you guys read, the memoirs as a kid. Part 2 starts off like if you read the book, it ends when we're gonna do the armed robbery. That's where I ended.
That's
at.
smart.
We're
Okay.
putting on masks
Look at
and
you.
we're gonna hit the lick. So part 2 is gonna pick up right there.
Cliffhanger.
What,
Cliffhanger.
on the first crime that you committed with the carjacking,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm not mistaken, you guys jacked a rival, didn't
Yeah,
you?
it was a rival. Yeah. What
Oh.
it was we hit him up, and the only reason why the carjacking didn't turn to carjacking was because he tried to slap one of my little homies, not knowing I had a gun already. Like at that time, if you know me, like especially like I said, we're a small gang, we're all strapped. Back in those days, it was like you're walking here, take a gun, bro. Like you're gonna get shot. We're experiencing a lot of issues with that neighborhood.
Yeah.
So when I'm in Morgan Park doing community service, And back then meth wasn't common like now, or after.
Yeah.
We're smoking Cocoa Puffs, which is a cigarette with
the
crack.
Primos.
Well, yeah, Primos. That's what we were smoking. So we wanted some money for that. So we see this guy, and it's embarrassing, but I was like, I'm not ashamed to admit it. We're gonna panhandle, like ask him, hey fool, like shoot some fed up for for a beer, but we really wanted to buy drugs.
Yeah.
But we started seeing this fool, like my homies are like, damn, this fool's from somewhere, dog. And like I said, North side is small. So if he's not from our side, he's from that side. So when we hit him up, he said whatever, and we like kind of trip on him, and he tries to slap my little homie. So that I pulled out the gun, and then that just escalated quick, dude.
Damn.
It escalated really bad, and literally the same situation. We're at Morgan Park, cops are right there down the
it's
street,
right
bro.
there,
They're
right up the
getting
street.
like this.
Damn.
What's crazy is that they never found the car. We carjacked it, and the only one that knew how to drive was another homie of mine. We take it somewhere, we dump it, and it was right there down the street. Cops never found it.
Never found it? Not
Never
even
found
running
it.
the VIN number or
It
anything?
was so funny,
That's
dude.
crazy.
Like, we walk across the street to my homegirl's house, and they find us because we're there. And I tell my homie, because I already started getting incarcerated. I went to camp and all that. And they're like, stand right here. And I tell my homie, dude, they're going to ID us. And he's like, how do you know? Why are we standing here, bro? Like, we're not standing here because we're just standing here. They're going to ID us. And somebody gets out of the car and they get back in. And I'm like, son of a bitch, we just got ID'd. We're done. They arrest us, boom, take us to police station. And then that's when they start booking us. And I see carjacking. And I'm like, dude, this is horrible, bro. And he's like, what do you mean? Because none of us were really involved in crimes like that. I was
Yeah.
like, dude, we could get life for this, bro. And he's like, nah. When we go to court, sure enough, the judge is like, dude, you've been here since you were a kid. Now your crimes are escalating. Like, I'm sending you to YA. Like, you're not, because I'm thinking in my mind, I'm going to go back to camp.
Damn, yeah.
Because that's what they were doing to kids. Just go to camp, go to camp.
Yeah.
But they seen that those kind of facilities weren't working for me. So they needed something harder. So that's why I went to YA. And I feel like that's what was the story of my life. I was always getting a stronger dose of the system, and that's what happened to me. I went to county, I went to prison.
It's like you say, rather than trying to rehab you as a young
They're
kid,
just making me worse.
it's making me worse. Yeah.
And I
wanna-
accepted it.
I do want to talk about your, the time you got shot, because you were telling me that, well, other than when you joke around about you guys being colorblind,
Yeah,
and that's always funny to us because I do like giving
Yeah,
hard
yeah.
time.
Now
Not
there's three of
that I'm
us,
trying
bro.
to
You
make.
better
Yeah,
calm
no,
down.
no.
There's
Wow.
three
Oh, now the
versions.
room is outnumbered.
We're
Yeah.
a big community.
Yeah.
homie.
And but I do want to talk about that. How you got shot and now you can't partially hear.
So what happened was, out of my ear, this ear I have no eardrum. So I can't hear nothing. Like, even right now when we're like this, out of this ear I have no hearing.
That's
this one I
crazy.
have 30%, hub, if you said 30%.
And how did that happen?
Pretty much what happened was, like I was saying earlier, I literally always had that mentality of doubling down on my losses, right? So the more I got involved in criminal activities, the more I just like, okay, I got away with this, I'm gonna keep going. But you could only mess up so much till like you hit the wall.
Yeah.
And my wall hit when excuse me, I was actually involved in a series of crimes, right? I'm not gonna say what it was. I got arrested from, right? But they didn't know I was the person doing it, right? They know I was part of the ring of the people that were doing that criminal stuff, but they didn't know who was doing what we were getting it, how we were getting it. They picked me up on it, and the only thing they could hold me on was a violation. So they're like, I could hold them for this. And the way the cops used to think, and probably still think, is like, I got them for this, and when we can pin more, we'll pin it. So I'm on a violation. I'm in Wayside, and something happens. I won't disclose exactly what, but there was an issue with the cops.
Okay.
And in county or prison, when there's an issue with like another race or the cops, it's like everybody goes forward, right? Everybody jumps. It's like that. It's just a mentality, one for all kind of stuff, right? So there was an issue against the cops. And anybody that was in Wayside at the time knows that it was like on site with the cops. Like, there was a big riot against the cops.
This is in Wayside.
This is in Wayside, right? And like, it came down and people are like, nah, this can't be true. Like, and I was like, bro, I seen the the letter, and I was like, this is legit, bro. Like, this is from where it's from. And they're saying we got to do it. And the thing is, like, I'm not going to risk my life because you're having second thoughts. Like, I'm a rock and roll. Like, if we got to go, we got to go.
Yeah.
So I started talking to the people that I was with, because I was in Medium South, was the violation pod, right? The module, let's say, right? And the unit, modern violation unit, right? Pro violations, we're all pro violations. There's Medium North, Medium South, Supermax, X Max. Everybody ended up riding over this issue that happened, right? So I tell the homies, like, because we're all going home. We're all there for like 6 months, a year. Like,
Short time
kind of.
Yeah.
And I told them, look, bro, like, because I've always had a way with words. And I tell them, like, I know you guys are scared, bro. Because I started thinking, like, should I come at them aggressive or how should I address these fools, you know? So I start thinking, you know, like about my reading, how we talked about earlier, like, people think that the force, it's the best, like the only way, right? But if you speak to somebody, right, your point will get across and you'll get them on your team, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I tell the homies, like, hey, you know what? Like, I'm going to be 100 with you guys. Like, I know you guys are scared. I'm scared. Like, you know, and we're the paisanos too, Mexicans and the paisanos. And I tell them, I don't want to do this as much as you guys going to do it, but we have to do it, you know? And, it, you know, I was literally right there with them and I'm going to show them, like, I'm telling them, like, when it comes in, when this has to happen, I'm the one that's going to start. You know, because I know everybody's like, oh, who's going to kick it off? Who's going to do it? And I told them, I'm going to do it. I'm going to show you guys that, you know, I'm going to be with you guys. You know, and I would never forget the quote I told them because I wrote it in my book. I told them, you know, a lot of people like to, you know, like use chess as a phrase, you know, to like an example when they talk to people like their soldiers and stuff like that, right? And I tell them, hey, you know what? A good chess player knows how valuable everybody is. Not just their rooks and their kings and their queens. You know, I value the pawns. I value everybody. And if you think you're dispensable, to me, I'm telling you, a good leader is only as good as the people who follow him. So I told them, you guys follow me, I won't let you guys down, dog. I'm going to be right there with you guys. And I'm not going to, and you know, we're going to be out there fighting, bro. And we're going to do it together. So we did it. The next day, like I had set it up to where there was going to be a certain signal where once somebody heard one alarm, everybody was going to do it. So everybody kicks it off. And the funny part is when something happens in jail, there's a panic button that the cops set off to let other cops know that there's an issue in this unit. So that was the signal. And the cops didn't even know. They're panicking, hitting the alarms. Little did they know that was the signal for all the units to rock and roll.
Damn.
So when every unit heard that sound, they're like, let's go. So it started going. And it went on for a while, dude. It was bad. It was like anybody who was involved in this riot knows it was bad, dude.
Then what part did you come in?
When I got shot. So what happened was, you know, there's an issue with the cops. You know, it's a losing battle, point blank. Like we know we're gonna lose. You're not gonna beat the cops.
Yeah,
they
for sure.
They
got all the right weapons,
They're gonna
right?
go balls to the walls.
Balls to the wall.
We're going at it with them, and I'm hitting somebody, right? Boom, 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 whatever. So there's a lethal weapon. It's called a non-lethal weapon. It's called the Big Bertha, which is the block gun. So when they shoot you, they're supposed to shoot you from the waist down. But since I was down hitting the cop like this, when they try to shoot me here, he shoots me in my ear. He shoots me in my head and I fall down. So I fall and I know something had happened because I hear the whoop, you know, like the sound. And I'm like, something's not right. But in my mind, I'm so full of adrenaline, I jump back up and I start going at it again. So finally, the cops all take me down. They beat the shit out of us. Like it was like in my book, I describe it how they had us out there. They had us in the yard like for hours.
In this first book?
In the second book.
The second, okay.
They had us out there in the yard, just like handcuffs, sprayed up. Some of us are in boxers. And I'm just like looking like, damn.
And you still don't have any hearing?
No, I can't
at
hear
that point.
At all?
At all. So I get beat up one more time and I go to the hospital. So when I go to the hospital, because I was that messed up. When I go to the hospital, they take me to the hospital and I'm like all fucked up, right? And I'm describing it in my book where like people are talking and I can't hear. I'm like, what the hell? What's going on, bro?
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking because of the hit, okay, maybe that's why, you know, or maybe there's blood.
Yeah.
But when I see the nurse literally wrote some stuff down and like she's telling me, like, this is what happened because of the riot you're in, the severity of it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh my God. So the doctor comes in and says the same thing. Like, hey, this is what's gonna be affected, you know, you get hearing aids,
Lifelong.
different stuff. Like it's for life, bro. Like you're fucked. And I'm just thinking, like, he's mentioning, like, I can't drive, I can't do a bunch of stuff. And I'm in my 20s. I'm young. And I'm thinking,
And for
like,
you to be
disabled,
kept away
bro,
from disabled,
regular life. And he's telling me, like, you can't, you know, like, even if you see me walk, I don't walk straight, you know? I don't
didn't even
drive
notice
straight.
that.
Yeah. You see me, like, I walk to one side. I'm always bumping into her. Because, you know, people think your hearing is not valuable.
It's your equilibrium.
But it's your equilibrium. It controls
Really?
everything,
Yeah.
bro. Everything. Yeah.
I honestly, I would have never known that.
And the thing about even that, like, I was so mad, right? And I was so upset because of the situation. And like, I was thinking like, I'm done. But like I told you, I've always had that double down mentality.
Did you ever at one point feel like you were going to die? Like, this is it? Like, during that time?
I've wanted to die for years, you know? Like, I felt that. You know, we've all felt that. I don't know if you guys have felt that, but I felt that. You know, like, I'm like, okay, let's go, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to test it. And I never died. So I just knew that it was going to take a lot for me to die. So when I went through this, I didn't see it as a barrier. I looked at it as like a get out of jail free card. Like I literally, and it's sad that I was thinking like that. I would exploit my disability because, you know, me being disabled in prison gave me action, gave me movement. You know, like when you have a disability in prison, you know, you always get to move out of your cell. You know, if we're on lockdown, I get to go to the clinic. Yeah. Right. So that means I get to talk to people. I get to move drugs. Right. You need something to come in, I'm bringing it. Yeah. You know, and that's the stupid mentality I had, you know, instead of saying, hey, you know what? This is where I should pump my brakes. I just pressed fucking full gas. That's how stupid I was.
Full throttle.
Full throttle. And it's sad, dude. Because
we talked a lot about, you know, like the incarcerating part and like the growing up in the hard gang stuff, you know, and a lot of the success that you're having right now is because now you're doing comedy. Yeah. Right. And we talked a little bit about that too. And, you know, because we always talk about the negative shit, you know, like, and we have been probably from most of the interviews. Yeah. So I want to go into like the parts where it starts getting fun for you and like doing these types of things. Although I do, but he'll want to take it back to the half brother.
No, because
I think it's I don't know
because I think it's a funny. I think it's kind of funny because it'll correlate with getting into the whole. But I do find it funny that you found your half brother. Or step brother in jail?
Yeah, you had the same birthday and everything.
And you never knew him?
Never knew him.
Did you know about it before?
No. So the way it happened was, I'm in Wayside. This is right before the riot happened. He was my bunkie. He's my bunkie. And, you know when you just click with somebody? And then I heard his birthday. And he says, his birthday is my birthday. And I'm like, that's weird. But we were just a year apart. So we started talking. And he literally tells me one day, oh, yeah. And he doesn't know his dad. I don't know my dad. And my real dad's not Mexican. He's from Central America. So when he said that, I was like, oh, that's a real coincidence, right? So we're talking. He tells me his mom's name. So I have a really good memory when certain things happen to me, right? Yeah. So there was a time where my mom shared something with me and she goes, oh, this happened with this lady. And that was his mom's name. So I tell Wild. I call my mom and I'm like, Mom, what was that lady's name again? And she's like, so-and-so. And I'm like, oh my God. So he calls his mom and it's the same people.
No way.
That was, So my mom was pregnant his mom was pregnant with him. And then my mom got pregnant after. So that was like the mistress.
Your dad was a busy dude, man.
He was a busy dude, dog.
Yeah.
Putting in work.
Do you still keep in contact with him?
We lost contact.
Oh, that's
even till now?
Yeah, one of my biggest flaws, and like I'll admit it, is like I get I'm so used to being alone. Yeah. So I get wrapped up in my own life, but it's because like all my life I've always been like my hood, my this, the homies, this. So I'm in the stage in my life where I'm just like I just want to do me. Yeah. You know, like I love my hood. I love everything I've gone through and everything I devoted myself to, but I feel like you gotta just give yourself some time too. That's what I'm doing right now.
And so then, going to what he was trying to get into. Why? How? Or why comedy?
So the whole comedy thing happened. Like, if you really think about it, like, I never was funny. I never, like, if you know, like, people that know me from prison will be like, dude, this fool is super quiet. Because I was super quiet in prison, very observant, like you said, very negative, the bullshit. Yeah. But I got a taste of comedy when I got put on comedy through my homie named Joel Cholo. He was a comedian, and I seen him. And I was like, dude, this fool's a real homie, because there's different people that are like portray homies, but are not homies, right? You could tell, like, they got the get up, but it's not about the get up, right? So, and then, like I said, I don't knock it because at the end of the day, it's like, if you look like me and people accept you, that means when they see me, they're going to accept you.
Except I don't, it's kind of opening up a door for you.
I don't hate it. I'm like, hey, I want to see you win. I don't trip like that, because there's a lot of people, especially in our race, where they're like, nah, I don't want to see that fool win. Like, fuck that fool.
Yeah, the haters, bro.
A lot of hate between our own people.
And it's sad Because, you know, like me, I generally want to see my raza win, dude. And
Yeah, I like that.
I'm not like one of those fools that be like, oh, why does he have that car? And I got an Altima. You know what I mean?
Like, yeah.
One day I'll get a Tesla.
Like, one day you'll get the
one
Tesla.
day, homie, let me dream. Right? Let me dream, homie.
For sure.
Right?
Now, speaking of the comedy stuff, though, we know you got a show coming up at the Laugh Factory on
Yeah,
November the
November
1st.
1st.
And then, I don't know, hopefully this interview might be out by that time,
Hopefully,
right?
yeah.
And
Covina.
Covina Laugh Factory, right?
Oh, yeah.
Covina?
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you,
that's
Covina.
really cool.
Yeah, I've actually been there a bunch of times, but I've never been on the billboard, dude. I'm not gonna say the word, but you know, we said a certain word, like, I gotta do that.
Yeah.
But you know, I still tell my lady, like, dude, like we're driving home, and I see myself on that billboard, dude. I almost fucking cried, dog.
Hell yeah.
Oh,
I
hell
would
yeah.
too. I
And my
would
lady's
too.
like, are you crying? I was like, nah, come on, you don't know how to do that stuff.
I'm waiting for I'm waiting for our moment where we can finally
Oh,
see ourselves,
man.
where it'd be like I can shed a tear.
Yeah.
And I would
Oh,
love to shed a
that'd
tear.
be
I don't
crazy.
cry
Yeah,
at all.
yeah.
I
How
don't
did
show
you-
emotion, but that would be
Yeah.
awesome.
It's
So
a-
I know
it's
that
a
I
day,
would love
dude.
to have that
It's a
same
moment.
feeling like you.
How did you get the name Young Beavz, though? And
So-
you know, now that's your comedy, part of your comedy show, right?
Yeah, yeah. So Beavz is beaver. The word young comes from somebody I knew from YA. So this person was it's not young, but it's a different phrase. He was an Asian person, and he passed away. So you know, I
got you. Yeah.
That
Okay.
person, he was one of my friends, and I knew him from juvenile hall to YA, and he passed away tragically. And you know, like I was friends with his family for years, you know, and I remember he was funny, bro. He was always funny, always smiling, and he tragically passed in YA.
Inside way?
Inside YA, he hung himself.
Damn.
Oh,
And you know, like I won't say his exact name because I was
yeah.
Yeah, of course.
for his family.
But you're paying homage to him.
Exactly. And I've never spoke about that anywhere on any podcast because
No
people
way.
ask me, but I'll be like, nah, I won't say it. But you know what? I'm sharing it because, you know, he was a funny person. Every time the thing that I liked about him, he's always joking. And I used to be like, it's annoying, homie. Like,
yeah,
stop.
like you said,
Yeah.
you're paying that homage.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
But
though.
I did it because I was like, bro, this fool was always funny and he didn't get that chance. And now I have the second chance. So
You're doing it
for him.
Yeah.
through him.
And now
For
you're going to be
him.
doing like shows and stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, also on YouTube, at Young Beavz Comedy, if
Yeah.
you want to head on over there, check
Yeah.
him out, his YouTube channel. And we'll mention your Instagram
Yeah,
here
thank you.
in a little bit as well. And I was always interested too, like, wow, Young Beavz, right? Like, it's like, because I mean, we're all in the 40 range
Yeah,
here.
we're
We're not young.
middle-aged,
You know what I'm saying? So, but middle-aged, right? But
Middle-aged Beavz, yeah,
but
yeah.
now it makes
Over
more
the hill.
sense why you
Yeah, yeah.
do.
They're
use
older
that-
than us,
that
by the
name.
way.
Yeah, I'm old too though. I feel it, bro. Trust me.
Hey,
And
so
that's a joke I even share with my lady. I'm like, hey, you know, I should be like middle-aged Beavz.
Yeah.
Over the
Middle-aged
hill.
Beavz.
Over the hill, Beavz.
Over the hill.
So now, you know, you're doing that show at the Laugh Factory. That's got to be dope too. Yeah, to see yourself on a
Yeah.
billboard, right? And then I did see some of your posts, and it looks like you're doing the circuit, man.
Yeah, I'm
The
trying.
Ice House, the you know the
I've been at a comedy store,
things like that.
improv.
That's
What is that struggle like? Because young comedians coming up, you know what
It's
I mean?
hard.
And because you know, and you're a young comedian still. To put it, you know,
I'm
you
still
know,
new. I'm fresh.
You're still fresh.
Like they say, wet behind the ears. you
yeah.
know?
What's that like? Like, you know, you're
It's
going
a
to each
struggle.
show. Yeah.
It's a struggle, and it's like one thing that I learned, and like how us, like, you know, you're either gonna adapt or sink or swim, right?
Yeah.
So I've always had that, like, yeah, balls out, double down. So and even like we were sharing earlier, like when I started doing comedy, you couldn't go by Young Beavz. Like the promoters would book me by Victor Zapata, and I'll be like, that's
They
not
wanted a
me.
name.
I'll be like, no, I'm gonna be Young Beavz.
Like Joe Rogan or Carlos Mencia or
exactly.
George
Or
Lopez.
George Lopez.
Like
yeah.
even like we're sharing something earlier with the comedians, like you couldn't wear shorts. Like
What?
a lot of the comedians and the OG comedians will tell you in the history of comedy, Fluffy's the only comedian that wear shorts. There was like
Yeah.
a hidden taboo.
That's
that
crazy.
People don't talk about that you could not wear shorts on stage. You
And
were
that
always
was-
wearing pants.
Because the house wanted that, the promoter.
Just the whole element, the whole ambiance of the people. Like everybody was in pants. You wouldn't really see. If you look back, if you Google comedians, everybody's in pants. There was like a hidden thing where people wouldn't speak about it. You know,
and
now,
on stage, man, I'm looking at you, and you're
Always in
all about
shorts.
wearing your
I'm
shorts.
always,
Oh, yeah.
Now it's more like you can do it. Like you see,
I mean,
Duno.
the socks, the down to the
Duno-
food.
Yeah, there is
Duno's
a-
always with shorts.
There is a clip of
Duno's
you
always wear shorts, yeah.
laying
Always
on
wear shorts.
laying on the floor at the Laugh Factory.
Yeah.
I see now. We got to go and see
Yeah,
your
yeah.
your.
Oh, we definitely have to
your,
go and
your,
support.
your show. And how long are those shows usually? Like
maybe 45 minutes to an hour.
they
Because like,
give you full 40.
no, not for me, but for
for
everybody.
you.
For me, I'm doing like anywhere from 5 to 15
They
minutes.
always
10
do. Their
minutes,
their
Yeah.
time up there is only about 5
yeah.
to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And
The
I- and I-
headliners do like 30, like them.
I gotta
Yeah, yeah.
ask this: how hard is it to write your jokes?
That's the thing. I don't really write. That's I'll share it with you
Oh,
guys.
you're right off the cuff.
I'm off the cuff. She knows I have books of jokes, and I write them, and I'm like, babe, it's good. And then I go up there, don't use one of the jokes. I'm just because I look at the crowd and I look at what's landing, you know, like because sometimes you go by the script and you're just sinking, bro.
Yeah.
There's and I'll share with you guys because you guys are in comedies, but you guys are a fan of the craft, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So in comedy, there's regular energy and then there's high energy comedians. I'm high energy. So I'm the guy that's going to throw himself on the floor and I'm going to be
seen that.
fucking the mind.
Like, yeah.
Like, why? Because that's what attracts me. That's who I like. Like like Donnell Rollins, he's high energy. You know, different Martin Lawrence, he's high energy. Like I like the regular comedy too, but I just feel like when you like, you know how going back to like how we like to listen to stuff.
Yeah.
There was a thing I heard on YouTube where this guy gives an example about wasting money. And he's like, you guys need to stop wasting money. And you're throwing away $1 million in pennies. And nobody was hearing that fool. But this guy got a wheelbarrow of pennies and he throws them on stage. He goes, that day, my book sold out. And the apprentice like, wow, how'd you make it? Well, like what turned the audience?
Yeah.
And he goes, the fact that they seen those pennies on the stage and it was visual. So when I heard that, I'm like, dude, I'm gonna apply this to my comedy.
Visuals.
I'm gonna be more visual. I'm gonna be more like on stage. When I say, oh, I'm eating shit, I'll eat shit. Like, you know, and it took time, you know, because like a lot of comedians don't like that. Because
do you have any tour stuff coming up? Like where I always hear like, comedians need to like hit the road and start like, cause that's like the
my thing is just mainly like I said, cause I work, I do a regular job too. So that's what conflicts my thing.
Yeah.
Because when I go,
because you can't fully dedicate your craft to that.
As much as I wanted to, and I love, like I said, my lady knows I love comedy.
Yeah.
To me, that's like we're sharing.
But
earlier.
has comedy always been a part of
No.
you? It was just.
That's what I'm saying. Even in my book, I'm writing a story where I had somebody stabbed for laughing at me. And at the end of the chapter, I'm saying how ironic that I had somebody stabbed for laughing at me.
And now you're trying
now
to
I make people
now you're
laugh.
trying to get laughs.
Yeah, right. Like
with
it's
you
so ironic,
or
but
at
it's
you.
growth. Yeah,
One or the other,
you know,
with
but
or at.
Yeah, it's growth. You know, and I'm growing as a person, as a comedian. And I never wanted to be a comedian. Like I'll be honest. Like people are like, oh, since I was a kid, nah, I didn't want to. I never. Like to me, my brother's funnier. If you were to kick at my brother, this fool's nonstop, right, babe? Nonstop, just hey, talking shit. So a lot of my jokes I got from him, you know, and just inspired through other people.
Yeah.
That's
but
pretty
one
cool.
thing I fell in love with was being on stage, like we were sharing earlier. Like, you know, you find God, you get a second chance. You find a job, you get a second chance. My second chance was comedy because I became a new person. I became Young Beavz. I was no longer Beaver from Northside. I was Young Beavz Comedy, the comedian, you know, and I started exploring different stuff. And like how we were saying earlier, I wrote the book. I never thought I was going to write a book. I wrote it and I gave credit to my wife because, you know, if it wasn't for her, I would have never wrote it. I talked about it, but you know, Mexicans, Latinos, we're procrastinators.
Bro. Tomorrow.
One day, she's the one that
I'm
was
gonna have the talk can and then I'll do it later. And then before I'm gonna have another talk can. Like, I'm not doing it now. I'm gonna do it tomorrow.
Exactly. She's the one that was like, babe, here's the computer. Right.
Yeah.
And I wrote it, and dude, I'm so glad I did.
That's the work.
Yeah.
People don't want to do that part though. Everybody just wanted to come to them. Like, I just wanted to come to me. It's like, nah, you got to put in the work.
Put in the work.
Sitting down, writing. Like when we tell people that we write, like some of the show, we're like, oh, we write. They're like,
that shows
what?
you
I'm
like
well,
actually put the effort
you don't want to
into
just
it.
show up and be like, you know, like I know Andy does a couple podcasts and we do a bunch of stuff on the side too. But you know, we sit down, we have writing sessions. You know, we're like, okay, that's but
that's good.
even as a comedian, that's your art. You're gonna write about it, right?
Yeah.
So your wife had a good pick right there.
Like I'll admit it. Like that's why I said I don't write because I want somebody to help me write.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I go with other comedians, I'm not like before. I was like, I'm not gonna ask nobody for help. Now I'm telling fools like, hey Jerry, like, what do you think about this joke? Or hey Concrete, what do you think about this joke? Like, give me your opinions. Before I never cared about other people.
Right.
So you're good with those dudes.
Yeah,
right?
I know a bunch of them homies, dude, because
That's
they
crazy.
know me since I first started.
Yeah.
You know, coming up in the trade. You know, in the craft.
Matter of fact, Jerry Garcia was at
we did an event.
Yeah.
with,
JR.
Jerry Garcia's real cool.
Yeah,
guy,
he was cool.
dude. He knows my lady. Like they always show us love. Whenever we're with them, they're like, "Hey, come here, Marty." You know, they fuck with me tough. They've heard of the side of my criminal side, but they're like they don't see me like that. You know, because they're just like, we know you as Young Beavz. I don't know you as that.
That
you know?
identity.
Which is good because, you know, like I said, my homies know me as that. You know, people from prison, you know, some guy just went to my show and he's like, bro, I remember when you were like this and doing this in prison. And I was like, hey, bro, you got to learn to like just shed those layers, dog.
Let it go.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I'm always going to be that homie who helped you out. Like, yesterday we seen somebody in Orange County at the Fool's Gone Wild. And the fool hugs me. He's like, hey, fool. And I was like, what's the fool? He's like, dude, I saved that fool's life. Theo Lacey, dog. And
That's
now
crazy.
he sees how I am now. And he's like happy. You know, and I never thought that I would get so much love in Orange County. Because every year I do a big comedy show. I've done it like in Hollywood. I've done it in because I grew up in LA. Remember I told you?
Yeah.
So in the area that I grew up, I threw one of my comedy specials right there by Temple Street in Clanton. All hood. Like everybody went.
Well, we
But
got to
I
get
did-
out there
yeah,
to go
I'll
see
get you
you,
guys out
bro.
there.
We got to go see
we
you,
definitely
man.
got to go out and
Yeah, I
support
did
Coming
an
up the-
homage for my area, right?
Yeah.
So now I told my lady, because Orange County showed me so much love, I'm gonna do it in Orange County. Bro.
Yeah, then we're
Right?
going to go. We got to go and
Yeah.
figure that out.
I mean, if not, you guys could go to the Covita one. You know?
Right. So coming up on November the 1st at the Laugh Factory, you're
Yeah.
going to be doing this with Adam Hunter, Luz
Passos, yeah.
Passos, Michael Koo.
Michael Q.
Q.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, of course, you right there, all big on the website.
Oh, yeah.
Young Beavz. And look, man, that's crazy right there,
Young
right?
Beavz, yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Look at that.
Michael Q. It's
Ooh, look at you,
little
man.
backstory with that. He was
It's your
the
headshot right there, bro.
He was
Yeah, straight up.
He was the first fool to give me a. Well, I wouldn't even call him fool. The first homie that gave me a.
But fool's a good
yeah,
acknowledgement.
He's the first fool, whatever.
Yeah, he was the first fool
First
to give me a
fool.
opportunity at a big club, because I was doing little circuits, all bars, right?
Yeah.
And I had done a show with him somewhere, and you know, cause I'm you guys look at me and I'm good, but my lady knows I still got ghetto mañas, dog. You know, like if I
Yeah,
know the
well.
beer's expensive, I'll pack a couple of tall cans.
And yeah, that's right. I'm with you, bro.
Yeah. So
up?
Hopefully
That's
they're not falling off the stage while
no,
you're
I wear
performing.
big pants.
I love it, bro.
Yeah,
I'm
so
the same way.
So we went to the House of Blues, and he sees me, and I'm standing in line. I got a 3-pack of Budweiser in my right here, in my belt.
Yeah.
And he's like, "What are you
A
fixing?"
3-pack of Budweiser in your
Budweiser in my
pants?
pants, because I wear size 50s, fool. So they're like, "You can't tell."
Size 50.
That's what I wear pants. So he sees me.
That's
and
by
he's like-
choice, though, right?
Yeah, by choice.
Oh,
I just like to be comfortable.
That's hood
you know?
shit.
You can take the boy out the hood, but you can't take the hood out the homeboy.
Can't do it.
Nope.
So when I tell him that, he's like, "Hey, bro," he's like, "You want to do the House of Blues?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm down." So he actually gave me my first shot at a big comedy club.
Yeah.
What was that like? Were you nervous?
I was nervous.
Yeah.
I was nervous, and it was funny because I had literally just got out of jail. I had my little bag from jail and everything. He's like, "Hold your little stuff right here, bro." And he showed me the green room. He said, "Down a couple tall cans and go up there and just be yourself, bro." Because I thought I had to be a character, but he told me, "Bro, you are a character. You're a criminal. You're a gangster, bro. Like go up there and just talk about you." And that's what I did. I've done Arizona Tempe improv with him. I've done.
Okay, so you traveled.
with him, yeah. I've done the Comedy Store with him. I've done Hollywood Improv. Like he gets a lot of clubs. That's why he told me, "Hey, bro, I need somebody for Covina," and he knows I bring the heat, bro.
Yeah.
Like he goes, "I need somebody that's gonna be first and light up the crowd." And I was like, "That's me, bro."
So you're opening it up right
Yeah,
there
I'm open up.
at the Laugh Factory.
You're
to-
opening
to-
up.
Downtown
to
Covina.
set the tone.
Órale, all right.
And even like we're saying with comedy, like people hate opening because you know in comedy they call it taking the bullet because that's the hardest
Yeah,
spot because
yeah.
you set the tone, right?
You're basically buffering them up.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
But
That's
you know
awesome.
what's crazy is when I first started doing comedy, those were the only spots I could get. Because like I said, I was a homie, and in comedy back then there wasn't homies like that. So when I would go to places like the Ice House, Comedy Store, Hollywood Improv, they'd be like, "Nah, you're gonna open up and you're gonna get 3 minutes." And I'll be like, "Fuck it, shoot me 3 minutes."
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go and I'm gonna kill, bro. I'm gonna kill. And I'm gonna talk about my shit. I'm gonna talk about smoking crack. I'm gonna talk about picking up hookers. I'm gonna talk about stuff that you guys don't want to talk about. And-
Off the bat.
off the bat.
Yeah, just
come
go
on.
for it.
Yeah. And they would laugh. They would laugh. And they'd be like, "Oh my God, that's so funny."
And
And
like, no, I'm not playing.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I am
Like,
gonna
even
go
at
out there.
the, even at the improv, I did a show. I told my lady I was in the Irvine Improv, and I said a joke about hiding some shit in your ass, right? Like cheeking shit when you're in jail, right? And the lady's like, "Me and my husband, we got a little bet going on. Did you really put something in your ass?" And I was like, criminals are gonna do what criminals do.
Because you have a video clip where you talk about like these dudes, you know, these homies say like, "Oh, I'm not gonna let her fucking."
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, we go to jail and we throw things
for
up
free,
in there to our
for free,
Yeah,
doubt.
right?
I was like, okay, that's true.
Yeah, but
that is so damn true.
It's something people don't want to talk about, but I feel like it's out there, bro. Come on, it's not a
Yeah.
hidden secret.
Yep.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
out there like Star Wars.
Everybody
I mean,
knows that.
Everybody knows
People
it.
know that, bro.
Yeah.
for sure. We're talking with Young Beavz, man, and thanks for coming on,
Yeah,
aka
anytime.
Victor Zapata, because now we're fighting
Zapata.
Zapata.
Like Emiliano Zapata.
Victor Zapata.
Yes.
Sorry, I have to do it extremely accent like
Yeah.
for this guy. So, dude, I think it's cool that you came out, talked about your story with us, because to see where you're at now, man,
it's a
is
whole
like
other phase.
yeah,
Yeah.
because to hear talking to you through this morning and how you head to that direction, man, this is crazy. Like
It was
how
a journey. It was a
yeah,
long
bro.
journey.
And
But
you got a huge show coming up on it.
Yeah,
We're gonna try and
thank you.
promote it, of
Thank
course,
you.
on
I
our
appreciate
YouTube.
it. I appreciate it, honestly.
And on your Instagram, it's at youngbeavz.comedy, right?
Yes, Young Beavz.
Okay, so on here you have Pornhub.
Yeah, no,
so-
it's a joke.
I know it's a joke.
I wanted to
I know it's a
ask him
joke.
that. Like,
That's
what's
a
with
joke
the
too.
Pornhub
No,
thing?
that's a joke too. That's a
I
joke
know
too.
it's a joke.
Yeah, and that joke, it goes back to this shit where I was dating a girl, like a crazy toxica, right?
Yeah.
And I'll share with you guys.
Toxica.
I have bowling on my back real big, right?
Okay.
So I guess this girl was like zooming through Pornhub, doing what she does. And she seen a guy that had bowling on his back. She's like, that was fucking you. And I was like, bro.
There's a guy on Pornhub
I guess.
that's from bowling?
No. There was a video, but it didn't even say bowling. When I seen it, I was
Oh.
like, bro, that's this Bassett, homie. It didn't say bowling. I was like, that, but it wasn't me. But
Yeah,
I'm just
throw it
think-
back over there.
Yeah, I was like, girl, you crazy. But it was just a crazy story. And that's
Yeah.
why I always put porn.
Now you put that.
That's funny.
like a
That's
joke.
funny though.
Hey,
yeah.
going back to your book, I remember I mentioned that I
Yeah.
wanted to read something that kind of resonated with me, and I'm gonna read it real quick. And it says, "As I grew older, I became more and more aware of how poverty-stricken and dysfunctional my home really was. The senseless beatings I endured only got worse as I got older. By the age of 10, I experienced more trauma and torment than most people would in their entire lives. I was being humiliated, degraded, and physically beaten to the point where I no longer wanted to live. I hated my life, and I hated the world I lived in." That fucking resonated with me, because that was exactly
How you felt?
How you felt as a kid.
how
Yeah.
I was growing up, getting
Yeah.
beaten, humiliated by my own mother.
Yeah.
Not even so much my dad, but yeah, I really wanted to read that and just kind of touch on that real
Yeah.
quick, because I'm gonna continue reading your
Yeah.
book, because
That's
I
a
feel
good
like it again. I've gotten to a point where I'm like, I want to maybe do a little bit more of mine,
You should
but
write a
not
book.
yet.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not there yet. Where
Yeah. It's not that hard. I feel like you just like even when I started mine, I was worried about the commas and puncts. Like when I talked to this guy there, Jesus, he was my editor. He was like told me to really, and my lady was just like, just write, just get on there, and just go.
I love to write. That's
Yeah.
my thing. I love to write, but I feel like I'm not in a place where
Oh, you
I'm
feel
not.
like
No.
opening-
No.
open that-
I'm open. I'm
Okay.
very open, because I've shared a
that's
lot
good.
of different things through every interview.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
But it's more of like, am I at that stature where I'm known to, so that people can be like, yeah,
Does it
I wanna check
matter?
out-
Yeah,
Like, I mean, I think at that point you just
I
get
know
your
that it's
story
that
out.
mentality that I have.
But I feel like it's just you like holding yourself back. You should do it. Like me, when I came forward with my story, like that's a humiliating story. Like just the fact of I shared so much that happened in YA.
Yeah.
Like I didn't want to talk about it. And like we were saying earlier, the people that knew about it wouldn't talk about it. Out of respect for me, they're like, we're not gonna talk about it. He's a good homie. Like we're good.
For sure.
But I shared my story because there's a lot of people that it went through what we went through, right?
Oh, yeah.
So not only is it therapy for me, it's helping them, And now if you see all these lawsuits coming out where kids got, things happened, but when I first came out, people were like, that's impossible and it never happened. And I was like, bro, I was there. I heard people crying. I heard people yelling, screaming for help. Why were they screaming? Like, we know why. Just because you didn't want to acknowledge it, that's yours. That's you. But me, I'm gonna speak on what happened, bro.
Yeah.
Because not only for their voice, but for me, because it kind of messed me up too,
So author, comedian,
Yeah.
reformed gangster,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Are you a dad too?
I'm a father.
Father,
yeah.
right? Husband, all that good
All
stuff
that
right
good
there.
stuff.
All that good stuff, right? You've gone through all that, right? And what would be some good advice for people that are, that have gone through what you've gone through, and where are you headed?
I would say the advice I would give them is the same advice that I give kids when I go to jails. Because I said I spoke in Ventura, Chino right here, the Boys Republic. And I always tell them, like, no matter where you're at, you think it's like so bad, right?
Right.
Like, it's like, I'm this, I'm that. Like, it could be worse. it could be worse, and it will get worse if you don't address what's here. Like we were saying earlier, if you don't address that one little rock, that rock is gonna turn into a pebble.
Yeah.
That pebble is gonna turn into an avalanche, and before you know it, it's your storm, bro. You're sunken in. You're buried. You know.
Real quick, how did you get to be a part of being able to speak to the youth?
So the way I started talking about it was I have a homie. He's with Cover Your Ass Entertainment. They're all, it's a group.
Cover Your Ass Entertainment.
Yeah. It's like a joke that we had when we were YA. That's what California Youth Authority is CYA. But the homies would joke around and say, cover your ass, you know? But he's the one that actually got me into talking to the Boys Republic. So when I went there, and even now when I go and I tell them, hey, what's up? How you doing, homie? Boom, boom, boom. Like, I address them as how they want to be addressed, how they feel. Like, you know, because when I went to prison, I went to county, I learned from a lot of people, right? And I learned, in even books too, that a person just wants to be acknowledged. They want to be like, hey, homie, how you doing? ¿Cómo estás?
Yeah.
We all just want that recognition.
Yep.
So when you give these kids, hey, bro, how you doing? Little man? Órale, mucho gusto. You're like, oh, shit, I'm little man, right?
Yeah.
They get that. So when I started talking to them, I would tell them, hey, bro, like, whether you're doing good or bad, I'm going to be here for you. But if you're doing bad, I'm not going to help you.
Yeah.
You know, because I help different kids. And, you know, me and my wife, there was a time where this kid, he got out. And, you know, he was poverty sticker like us. And he's like, hey, bro, I got a job, but I don't got boots. I told him, how much are your boots, fool? He's like, $50. I got you, bro. We went all the way to his house in LA, dropped off $50 boots.
Nice,
and I was like, hey, bro,
dude.
these are for you, bro.
That's
I'm not
a
gonna
dope
give you
little
a
story.
sack. I'm not gonna give you a sack.
I'm not going to hand you the cash.
Yeah. I'm
You
gonna
gotta
give you
go
$50
get it.
bucks. And dude, to this day, he's still out there doing good.
That's-
And there's cases that are doing bad, right? And this person, I won't say his name. He got hooked on drugs again. But I never give up on him. And he's like, hey, bro, like, I'm just a lost cause.
Yeah.
And I told him, bro, you're not a lost cause. You're just lost
You're just
right
lost
now,
right now,
bro.
temporarily. Yeah.
And now he's
You gotta
doing
find
better.
yourself.
And you know, the thing is, he didn't have a dad like I didn't have a dad. Because yesterday we're driving and she tells me, hey, tell this fool to check his oil. And I'm like, oh, shit, you're right. They just got a car. I'm like, hey, fool, you the vato. And I talk to him like that. I'm like, hey, fool, you the vato in the relationship. So it's your job to make sure that car has gas. And that oil is there's oil in that car, bro.
That's cool.
I said, because you're going to neglect that oil and that car's going to explode on your ass, homie. So it just,
That's right.
The little knowledge I give them that nobody gave me knowledge. When I was a kid, nobody told me to check my oil.
Yep.
You know, and it's little things like that I'm trying to give the kids now, you know.
I feel you.
Because back in
And
the days, I was like, hey, like a strap.
Matter of fact, he works with youth
That's
as well.
good. That's good.
Yeah,
dude. That's
he helps them out too.
That's good because they need that. And then they see you and they know you've been there. They see this vato, hey, he's been there. He was from this. And I feel like they're more open to you, right? Like, I'm going to talk to this homie.
It doesn't always matter what you know. It's who you
Where,
don't know.
no, it's not where you know is where you've been.
Yeah, where you've been.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And that's good because you're they can relate to you. And you could help them. You know, you tell them stuff.
Yeah.
Well, no, people don't care what you know until you know that they care.
That's good.
That was the one. That
That's the one.
This guy always has like different
He
quotes.
does have a lot
That's
though,
good,
for
though.
But
sure.
I actually have a quote that kind of
Speaking of
correlates.
that, yeah.
That correlates with, you know, your upbringing, my upbringing. And it's, I was raised on pain, poverty, and survival. But I turned all that hurt into humor. The same street that tried to break me gave me the stories that built me. I went from juvenile hall to holding the mic. And now laughter is my revenge.
That
That's
is
for you.
good.
Boom. Why is that good?
That's good because they like in
That's it. That's
6
like
seconds. That's mine.
That's for
That's why it's good.
that's quoted like towards you.
That's crazy.
What we do when we do this quote stuff is we try to find something that, you know, gets
I
on
was
that
saying
type of
6
person.
sentences.
man.
He got me like boom, boom, boom,
Boom, boom, bro.
Yeah,
You
that
got
was
it.
good.
You laid it all out right there, man.
I'm gonna get a copy of that. That's good. I'm gonna need that.
I got you.
That's good.
Yo, we Young Beavz, man. Thanks for coming
Thank
in.
you,
Or
anytime.
Victor, we really
Thank you,
appreciate
Victor.
it. And
Yeah, man.
you know, of course, come back. You know, when you
Yeah,
release
we'll
that
do a
second
part
book,
two.
sure.
we are definitely going to try and check you out at the Laugh
at the Laugh
Factory
Factory.
in
Covina.
November. And then whatever the other shows you got coming up, let us know. We'll post it on our
thank you.
Instagram.
I appreciate it.
And we'll also post it on any of our YouTube stuff,
Thank
and
you.
then, you know, things like that. And reach out, man. We're
Yeah, for
we're
sure.
open
I'm
to
here.
hear. If you have,
I got your number now, so
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like fuck. What did I do?
I know
Nah, I
he's
don't
like,
mind.
what did I get myself into, right?
mind.
And you know, we really appreciate just coming through,
Thank
man.
you. I
And
appreciate it.
thanks to everybody that
Thank you.
usually comes check this
you.
out too on YouTube at Tapped In Media. That's where we can be found at, and of course on Instagram and TikTok at tappedin_media. You can check that out there as well. We have a bunch of stuff from our prior interviews. Thanks to everybody that has checked it out, and of course choose any video that you would like. on
Here.
up top over
Here.
here,
Wherever
over
you
there,
decide to
over
put
there.
'em.
Wherever we put them on the subscribe channel. And big shout out to Andy Q, who came back
thank you.
from surgery all the way from Colombia, man.
Yeah.
Damn,
Yeah,
welcome
good.
back, brother. We appreciate it though. And
Shout out your IG and
My
where they can
IG
find you.
is Young Beavz Comedy, TikTok Young Beavz Comedy, and my YouTube Young Beavz Comedy.
And there are ticket links in there. So buy a ticket. Come see this
It's
guy at a
2 for
show.
1, so
Ooh, a 2
Come
for 1
support.
special, bro.
It's LFBGO Bogo. So
Or
on.
just
Okay.
see him in the
Yeah,
parking lot and
yeah.
say, hey, bro, just give me a ticket right now, bro.
Tickets. I'll be scalping tickets, stolen purses.
Hey, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Take
Thank
care of
you.
yourselves.
Have a good one.